Good evening, good evening, good evening. Another Sunday, another day, another journey. Welcome to the round table. I am Mikey Nita, your host, along with Patrick, Brother Lass, and we'll be having two special guests. We're hopeful that they will join us. We're talking about Miss Arlene Harrison, former public defender, and Valerie Nita, criminal defense lawyer out of Kingston. We invite both individuals to take part in today's session because we want to explore a topic with them, criminal justice and constitutional reform. But they are not here as of yet. So we'll continue and deliberate until they join us. We also expect Mr. Herb Nelson to join us at some point. So, brethren, bless up. Catherine, heal up. Brother Smith, heal up. Welcome to the round table. And as usual, we start off our Sunday gathering with a roundup of the news. What's happening in the news? So, Lass, you want to tell us what's happening in the news? What's going on?
Yeah. So, as we know, most of the news last week was dominated by the independence celebrations and the grand gala celebrations. Those seem to have gone down successfully, with a lot of support from the Jamaican people. Some of the things that took place over the week, though, was that the police high command again released one of their feel-good reports telling us that the crime rate for this year up to the beginning of August has decreased by murders has decreased by 10%. They are saying of the 19 police divisions, 13 police divisions have recorded decrease in the amount of murders for the same time last year. That would mean at least one they said 13 police divisions have recorded decrease in the murder rate up to the same time last year. Also in the news was the continued legal problems involving Dayton Campbell for things he had said at a political meeting some time ago. We see where James Robertson, one of the GLP member of parliament, has come out along with another GLP member of parliament, or former GLP member of parliament, threatening to take Dayton Campbell to court for some of the things he said at the same political meeting that Vaz is suing him about. In the news also, we see where the Integrity Commission, the Parliamentary Integrity Commission, in its last report, stated that there are 6 parliamentarians who are under investigations for illicit enrichment. The Integrity Commission did not name who these 6 parliamentarians are who are under investigations because the Integrity Commission Act does not permit disclosure of who is under investigations until the investigations is complete. And continuing on the same topic, we have the executive director of the Integrity Action, or not Integrity Action, the Jamaica Accountability Portal, Accountability Meter Portal, Janet Calder. She is saying that, boy, these people should be named, that the Integrity Commission should name these parliamentarians who are under investigations for better accountability, But so far, these people have not been named, so we don't know who these people are. We also saw over the period a situation involving the member of parliament for one member of parliament in St. Thomas, Michelle Charles. That's the daughter of Pernell Charles, wherein one of her constituents wore an orange T-shirt to her office. And she took the orange T-shirt of this woman and stuffed it under the woman's skirt. And there are members of the society who came out against what she did because she posted it on video, saying it's intimidation of the member of her constituency, and it was abusive behavior on her part. Since that time, she has come out and apologized for her actions, so that was one other thing in the news. I don't know if Mikey or Patrick have anything to add.
Patrick?
Nothing to add really. Pretty much, you covered more than I'd expected. So I think Lass has pretty much a good summary there.
Well, one thing the news show us is that despite the setbacks, our democracy is still vibrant, because people were, after Miss Charles posted that thing, she was forced to apologize from public outcry, and she's not the only one. Before that, we had Mark Golden, people coming out and saying stuff and forcing decisions. So our democracy is strong. But I listened to and I watched the independence celebration, and somehow something is missing. I don't feel connected to the celebration. It's like something is missing. Something is missing. I don't know what it is, but I tell you, Valenita is joining us. Let me just. I Valerie.
It's muted.
Yeah, man. How are you? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Arlene
Great.
is not here as yet, So we're just
Okay.
doing we're just talking about things happening in the news. And
Oh,
when you join in, I was just about to make the point that our democracy, despite the setbacks, still vibrant because we saw Miss Charles was forced to apologize because of her stupid action. Mark Golden had to apologize because of his foolish utterance, and Isaac Buchanan, and all of those things, come from public outcry. So the democracy,
yeah.
when we condemn and criticize Jamaica, we should also remember that we have a very vibrant democracy. I don't know if you feel that way. Do you share that view, Valerie?
Well, we have made some progress in terms of public criticism, making people do the right thing. But I think we have a long way to go in terms of our media, because I'm not happy with the independence of the media at all. Um, we still have a way to go with how they disseminate news, how they present it, their independence. Um, I'm not happy with that. But social media, I think, has caused us to, at least the politicians, to toe a line in terms of how they behave.
Patrick, last.
Yeah. Can you say a little more on that, Valerie, in terms of what you're not satisfied with and where you think more needs to be done?
Well, a lot of the news is coming from social media. It's not coming from the media. A lot of what the media is putting out um, is slanted. Either some of the articles they put out, stuff they write on, are petty foolishness. We're not really getting, we really don't have an independent media. And a lot of the media personalities, well, RGR, the Gleaner, owns a lot of the media. Sometimes I am encouraged by the editorial in the Gleaner, but that's not often. And it's not followed up by any articles. So I know a lot of the media personnel work with government, and maybe that's the problem. They're protecting their bread and butter, and I can understand that. But I really, when I compare the media of the past, we certainly have degenerated in terms of the news that is put out there, the opinions, the analysis of things that are happening, especially in the political arena. So you know that a vibrant democracy depends on an independent media.
Yes, certainly.
Yes. And then we have some media that are clearly biased.
I am not surprised. I'm not
Go ahead,
surprised that what you're saying, Valerie, because over the years, the media association in Jamaica has been almost split down the middle, like the JLP and the PNP in the country, in terms of the journalists and what they actually support. So when it comes to like political reporting, I've always noticed that there is this slant in the mainstream media, right? Between the political views of one party or the other. I remember when the press association, when they had general meetings and elections, it was almost like a election fight at these general meetings because the political views which were represented, right, were stripped down the middle, almost divided between the two political parties, and people are always jockey to put their their people in positions. I've not been able to be privy to any of the recent like press association meetings and how they are operating, but I am not I don't believe much has changed in that respects. And thankful for the independent media, thankful to social media, where a lot more Jamaicans are putting putting out news and blogs and so forth, that we get a different perspective, a much wider perspective. But I also notice that recently the mainstream media people are criticizing these independent media and these social media activists, almost calling on government to do something about them,
Yeah, because they
as
are
if they
cutting
would
into their listenership.
like to see government, put restrictions and the kind of freedom that these people have to put out news.
Well, we need to have a analysis of what is democracy, especially now that we are looking at amending changing the constitution, adding and subtracting, because we need to look at the checks and balances that are needed in order to ensure um, that we maintain democratic society. But a lot of people don't know what democracy means. What is it? What does it contain? So we have to go right back to the beginning from there to be able to move forward. To try to cut out your competition is not the solution to your business and making money. What you must do is lift the standard of your of what you are putting out there, what you are producing. So if they try to do that, I'm sure there will be political outrage, and that will come about thanks to the independence of social media. Nobody owns social media as such, and you can use it to put your view out there, and that's part of democracy. Everybody has a view. I might not agree with you, but certainly you're entitled to put your view out there, and I will put my view.
On
So I
that
don't know
note,
what they're going to do by trying to get government to curb social media. They're wasting their time.
on that note, I want to introduce Herb Nelson Jr. He just joined the group. Herb, welcome, brother.
Yeah, good afternoon to everybody. Sorry, it took me a while to get this mic working. I was trying to use my headset, but it just didn't function. But greetings to Miss Nita, Mr. Crawford, and of course my good friend Patrick, and of course to you, Michael. Thanks for the invitation. I appreciate it very much. I'm just feel blessed to be amongst all these scholars that you have here.
Welcome, man. Welcome.
All right.
Yes, yes.
Valerie, when I extend the invitation to you, I said that we're going to talk about criminal justice and constitutional reform.
Yes.
You're a woman. You've been in the trench for a long, long time. And I was
Very,
hoping,
very, very, very long time.
yeah, and I was hoping Arlene would join us, but I'm not sure what's happening. But You've been in the trench for a long, long time, defending poor people against the state and all that stuff. We just celebrate 61 years, okay? And I was saying to my brothers earlier, I looked at the celebration, but I do not feel anything as if I'm connected to it. There's something missing. So, could it be that our criminal justice system is in need of fundamental reform?
Well, definitely the and the pathway to that is the Constitution. A lot of people do not understand, and I hope this program alerts the diaspora to get involved. I noticed that the Bar Association in the United States has decided to go on a program of education throughout the various states in the United States to inform people about democracy, because they are now realizing there's an attack on democracy, and because that is the base of any legal profession. Well, certainly in the Western world, not all, but most. That is a very worthwhile program. So that brings me to the position of Jamaica. We need to go back to our schools where we teach patriotism. You cannot get the sentiment and the dedication and the loyalty to Jamaica unless people understand certain things, and it will come by through education. Some years ago, the Canadians spent $2 million Canadian dollars going through the justice system in Jamaica and made some recommendations. I don't know if you know about the Wolf Report.
Yeah, I heard about it.
Yes.
It should be available. It was a very important exercise, and all the interested parties were involved. Among the things they recommended that we have done nothing about is the DPP's department. Nobody has paid any attention to those recommendations, and had they been instituted, we would not have had the ugly scene we had the other day. And they also, one of the things they recommended was that you cannot pull from the DPP's department the judges who are going to sit on the bench, because there's an inherent bias. I would say more than 95% of the judges that are sitting in our courts in Jamaica were prosecutors who do not have any experience on the other side of the fence, on the private bar side, so that they can have a balance and an appreciation. And it was the view of the Canadians that if you want to be a judge, then you go to a judge school. So we have to establish a school for judges that will make good judges. Now, that is important to the whole democratic system. That is important to the criminal justice system. And there's a whole lot of other things that we need to do. The DPP should not have the power that office carries to determine prosecutions. And we at the private bar feel the problems of that. There have been many cases in which a judge is about to rule that the Crown has no case, and what they do is they come with what you call a nolle prosequi. So they stop the trial of the matter with a view to starting it again so they can get their own way. That is not justice. Cannot be justice. So
Okay.
there are a lot of
Yeah.
things we have to talk about.
Always great.
Yes, Valerie, you were saying?
No, I said the DPP having that power is not good. And I'm not speaking about the person. I'm speaking about the office, whoever holds that office. I don't know if you remember the Irwin brothers case.
No,
You
I
remember
don't.
that case?
No, I
For
don't.
rape.
What was that?
5 women said they were raped, pointed them out on an ID parade, but the DNA results show that could not be them. The DPP decided to prosecute that case, despite that material, which would exonerate the boys. Now what you do is you put them to the expense of having to get a lawyer to fight for their freedom. You clog up the court system unnecessarily with a trial because you claim you want the public who has an interest in this case to hear what happened. Now, to me, that is a wrong approach. The DPP cannot be a minister of justice and operate in this way. And there are other cases. The Carlos Hill case was one of them, where they stopped the case when they realized they were going to lose it, enter on Dolly Prot to start the case over again at another time.
Gentlemen, any question?
Yes, I heard Ms. Nita. When you look at the crime and who gets punished in Jamaica, there is a problem in the eyes of the diaspora because nobody that comes out of Forest Hills, Beverly Hills, or any other hills for that matter, whether it's in Mandeville or it's in Montego Bay, it doesn't appear those folks get punished for any types of serious crimes. They're not going down to the Tower Street lockup, and they're not going to the remand centers. We look at cases of the young man getting his throat slashed after his mom came to an area. She claimed that somebody opened her door and took the young man out and drove, not took him out, but took her out and drove off with her vehicle. This is a vehicle that we know as an automatic lock system when it's being driven. It's a modern vehicle. And there's no way somebody's going to open that door unless she had her windows down. And if she noticed she was coming into an area of danger, she had ample time to put those windows up. Again, automatic locking system, automatic windows. And she had refused to cooperate with the police. Then I understand she may have left the island. But there's case after case, to include police shootings, where police don't get prosecuted, or if they get prosecuted, they're going to get off. Nobody is going to jail from areas of influence. And so when our young people see this, they either don't care or they're not concerned with committing crimes themselves because they realize you either starve or you steal. So in addressing crime in the Constitution, is there a way, first and foremost, to spell out that members of parliament reside in their communities for a minimum period? That way you know that they're representing that community and they just don't show up a day or a week before elections. Also, is there a way to have a review, since the Wolf report was back in 1993, is to have a current review to include the Tivoli Commission. And I've always said what we need really is a truth commission. You get the truth out there, you get all that out the way, you get all the guilty parties to say, yeah, I did it, and we move forward from there. But that's not happening. So what's your opinion on a truth commission as well as a commission to ferret out the inadequacies in the system, probably utilizing an ombudsman or some other methodology that other countries have used to rid itself of the scourge of crime?
Okay, let me say this. I am based on experience, I am very reluctant to comment on a case. Why? Because as a defense attorney, there are just too many cases that you hear material in the media, and you with a social media or regular media, and when you go to court and get the documentation, you wonder if it's the same case. Okay, so the case you spoke about, one doesn't know whether the door was locked or it was open. Those are not things we can make a finding on if we don't have the facts. That she should have, that the police should have ensured that she cooperated at an early stage is without doubt of great importance. But let me tell you this. There has been a little improvement, I find. However, our level of investigation in Jamaica is very wanting. Our police investigative skills are very wanting. Very, very wanting. You need to have a system where you have very good investigation, and that can only come about by the police force recruiting the best of Jamaica's intellect, which means what? Better pay. Okay? So you have to go right up the line to ensure that when an investigation is done, it is airtight. There is nothing a criminal defense attorney can do with an airtight case except plea. Absolutely nothing. Because it would be stupid not to. And we are ethically bound to do the best for our clients. So the best doesn't mean an acquittal only. The best can be to mitigate at the earliest time, which would reduce backlog, which would have the society confident that you can't commit a crime and get away with it, and it will allow the courts to be able to deal with sentencing in a meaningful manner. Now we have the politicians stepping in to take away the discretion of a judge. Can I just tell you this that happened the other day? A young man who at age 13 caused his 11-year-old cousin to do oral sex on it. So that's an 11 and a 13-year-old. His case was tried when he was 17, and he was convicted. And the minimum sentence is 15 years. Now, had the judge had a discretion, there is a lot of things that could be done to save that young man and to ensure that he becomes a contributor, useful contributor to our society. But you have this furor which arises because crime is so high, and there's a feeling that people are getting away with crime, and so you make the sentence extraordinary. You take away.
Make an example.
Yes, yes, but you're making an example in a situation where it may not require. You ever hear temper justice with mercy? But when you say these things, they think you are a bleeding heart, but it is not helping society when you do things like that. But the politicians think that the solution is harsher penalties. There are penalties that need to be harsh. There needs to be life imprisonment without parole. There are instances which require that. And in those circumstances, that has to be followed up by what? By people who are doing something in prison that can benefit the society. They are paying back their debt. What is it? Either they're making school uniform, or they're making school desks, or they're growing food to feed the children in school, or they're doing something that can benefit the society. But we keep not focusing on what is required to improve the system. All these things I'm telling you, we have been talking about for years. And we're still talking. And we're not doing anything about it. Yes, there are persons in the society which and a lot more than you think, people who are taken in custody and then released and not charged. Those decisions are made at a police level, sometimes at a political level. And what you are saying about the upper echelons of our society not being treated equally as the working class people, where the majority of offenders come from, that is true also. But there's a combination of things to make Jamaicans confident in how our judicial system operates.
So what are some of the changes you want to see in the Constitution to strengthen your argument?
Well, I would like to see that the DPP does not have that extensive, unstoppable power, but that it can be challenged and determined by a judge. I would like to see they establish a school for judges, and that the persons, our bench is not occupied by such a large percentage of persons coming from the prosecutorial arm of this country. I don't think that engenders confidence in the dispensation of judges dispense justice. I would like to see some kind of, I don't believe in mandatory sentences. I believe that judges who are exposed to the facts and the material are the persons best trained to determine what is an appropriate sentence. Politically, I believe that we need to seriously look at our political system in the sense of term limits, Um, you may want to give it 8 years or 10 years, or you might even go to 12 years. Because you need to see the young Jamaicans and the old too, it doesn't exclude the older person, who have a vision and who can contribute to our society, being able to have to fulfill that. I believe MPs should remain in their constituency and should not become ministers. I believe we should have the power to draw from other um, intellectually capable and able persons in our society to be ministers.
Does that mean you're looking at a separation of the executive from the legislature then?
Definitely.
I would
Definitely.
just like to comment a bit on some of what you have raised, Valerie. You started out by talking about, when you look at
That's really
criminal
Patrick.
justice, you can look at it independent of um, constitutional reform. Huh?
That's right.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, man, I'm hearing you good.
Yeah. I definitely, I'm in agreement with that because, in fact, my position is that we really need a new constitution, not even a constitutional reform. We need a new constitution, period. The constitution as it stands is not one which was meant for us, right? In terms of, having us involved in what the constitution should be, right? It was something pretty much handed over to us, which is a throwover from the whole colonial system. But be that as it may, on the matter of the criminal aspect, I think that our approach, for the most part, has been one where we see criminality as a feature of society, and I don't think it is. I think criminality is as a result of social injustice, right? If you have a socially unjust society, you're definitely gonna have high rate of crime, right?
Yeah.
So we have never really taken a serious look at crime in terms of prevention, right? And that is where I think the heart of the problem is. That when you look at the demographics, it's youngsters who commit crime for the most part, right? When you look at their social circumstances, it is usually, right? Usually for the most part, badly lacking in many respects, and is youths which are not under any proper guidance, is not youths who are not from any strong family background, not from any upending community. It is usually the underserved areas. All the social features that one thinks of when they think of an unjust society,
Including
right?
education.
Including education, and these are the areas which, for the most part, we see, irresponsible government neglect, because there's no social programs that address youth development. There's no social programs which address, accessible, proper education, all of that stuff, all the things that will really work in favor of preventing crime, right?
That's
And the
right.
worse the situation gets, the worse it becomes.
Sorry. And we have now literally worked our way into an educational apartheid.
Yes.
So all schools are not equal.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We find schools who are seriously lacking in all the necessary components to really perform an effective service to the youngsters. And the result is, of course, we see more crime. You know, so that I think is really what is at the heart of this thing.
Definitely, social programs are really at the base of the lack of social programs are at the base of um, what's happening in our communities now. So
But
what are we to do? What are we going to do about it? That's the question. What
Well,
can we do,
I
and
think
what are we going to do?
I think you actually touch on it in the beginning. You just that you didn't go into that discussion. You really, you know, went off on the discussion about the crime itself. But like you said, it really begins with the Constitution. You know, because Jamaica's is in need of a proper constitution now more than ever.
Yes. But how many people understand the Constitution? How many, even us here? We need to have a discussion of analyzing the Constitution. What are the various areas and what do they affect? And what is there? How can we improve upon it? Because it's not everything in it is of no value. But a general overhaul is important. But how many people understand it? How many people understand what is entrenched, what is not entrenched? So we really need a very serious discussion, and it will take many hours. But maybe Michael can break it down into the various areas so that we can have a discussion on each area and make recommendations. Because what is happening now, what is happening with the Constitution now, it's just really nothing is really going to the root of what we need to go to. I mean, they want a president. What's the function of a president? Do we need one for such a small country as Jamaica? Do we need one? Is it going to be ceremonial? Is it going to be somebody that has some power, some checks and balances on the Prime Minister?
Well,
We haven't had that discussion.
well, if I can say two things to begin with, I think before anything else, where we have to begin is in terms of having a clear and common definition of what a constitution really is and what a constitution is supposed to be, right? Because what we see here, right, presently, right, in my humble opinion, is, like I said, is not a constitution. I think a constitution really says what constitutes building a nation, right? And by that, what I mean is a constitution has to be a document which becomes the overarching law of the land, right? It becomes that document which pretty much is like a roadmap to building a nation, right? Because that is really the crossroads where we are at, from where we're coming from and where we are to be going, right? We're coming out of a system of colonialism, right? A system which has been not only predatory, but one that has been, by and large, right, as maintained a status quo which works against the majority of the Jamaican people, right? And in that regard, right, what we're talking about in terms of a constitution has to be something which speaks to people at the lowest point in our society. And it has to be all inclusive, and it has to be one which is which really serves everybody equally across the board, right? It's not one where because of my social status, right, I'm able to enjoy certain privileges while others in the society may be denied, right, any similar privilege, right? It has to address things like land reform. It has to address things like education. It has to address things like government, right? The way government functions and the way government is determined, right? There's a number of factors which must be involved. I don't think we can go through it all here, but certainly, when you talk about the matter of, for example, you mentioned the president, the matter of a president or a prime minister, you know, the executive body, which is essentially what we're really talking about, right? I think that it's not so much a matter that we're too small to have a president. It is a matter of really what would be the role of such a person, whatever you call him, whether you call him a prime minister or you call him a president and so on, right? What would have to be addressed is in terms of how is that office determined, right? Because you're really talking about, if you're talking about a president, you're talking about the president not as a person but as an institution, right? And if it's gonna be an executive president, it means that it should be one where the people have a say in determining who becomes president. So it would mean a president that is elected as against a president who is appointed, right? And right now, what we have experienced over the years, right, is where we have a prime minister as the number one, the CEO, right, of the executive branch, and usually that comes out of the ruling party in parliament, right, who determines who that prime minister should be, right? So it's factors like these we would need to consider, and I'm thinking that it's in making any decision, right, it has to involve the input of everybody. Everybody has to have an opportunity to make an input.
Yes, definitely. But let me say this. Unless we come forward with recommendations and alternatives, nothing is going to happen. So I would invite the diaspora to seriously look at making recommendations and getting it out there in social media or in the mainstream media. Because unless we do that, the politicians again are going to ensure that only what enhances their portfolio will be implemented or changed depending on what they choose to do. This is an opportunity for us as a country, as you were saying, to put in the checks and balances in the political system, put in the check and balances so that we can move forward as a nation. This is our opportunity. But not even the mainstream media is having any meaningful discussion or views put out there. All of what is happening behind the scenes, not in public. I don't see it happening in public. I'm yet to see. I mean, they say they're having town hall meetings, but I'm yet to see one.
Valerie, I listened to you, Valerie, but you haven't said anything about the policemen. You know, how do we, what sort of, as a criminal defense lawyer, what sort of change would you like to see, you know? And change that should reflect in the Constitution. I know we just had a big argument around the DPP and how that was extended and what have. What are the changes? What are some of the changes you'd like to see in the Constitution? Just as what you said, the DPP power is too expansive. In terms of the police force, what is it?
In the Constitution, definitely, I would like to see us establishing a standard of recruitment for police officers. Will that of course, with go proper appropriate salary. Also, there needs to be a system of promotion that can ensure the independence, the objective selection of those to get promotion, because right now tribal politics again descends into that arena. I would love to see penalties for police officers who lie in court. I want judges to have the ability to fine or confine police officers. There must be a consequence to what you do.
That's not happening now.
No, sir. No, sir. They come in court and tell the most obvious lies and walk out and not even get salaries deducted.
Oh,
Okay, I
wow.
think she dropped out.
Drop there.
Wow.
Yeah, she was
But,
making
you know, here's something, Michael. The Attorney General under the UK system is responsible, let's say, to superintend the office of the DPP.
Yeah.
So if the Attorney General is responsible for that, my question is, why isn't the Jamaica Attorney General? You know the Attorney General here in the US.
Yes. All right. So I was
She's back with us.
Okay.
Yeah, Herb, maybe you should
Right.
direct that question at Valerie.
Yeah, Valerie, we were talking about a U.S. Attorney General, and according to the explanation for the UK Attorney General, they are responsible to superintend the office of the DPP. If the Attorney General has that power under UK law, why is the Attorney General not more involved ensuring the law is effectively interpreted in the DPP's office, especially in the case of that young man who the test showed that he was not responsible for rape, but she decided to try the case anyway. That's a waste of government. That should come under fraud, waste, and abuse, right? It's a fraudulent trial because she knows.
yeah, but the Constitution gives her. But the Constitution gives her that power. She's overseen by no
But it's like,
of the DPP. They, whoever in that office has that power to start, to prosecute, or to end the prosecution of a case.
Are you coming in a little choppy, Valerie? We're not hearing you so clearly. I don't know if you can repeat that a little more
I'm
slowly.
saying that yes, the deep case or to end the case. She is not overseen by anybody at all.
I don't know if
Did you
anybody's
get that?
able to hear more clearly. Our internet seems to be real bad, so we're not.
Yeah, she's driving. She's driving.
I understand that.
The Wi-Fi might not be present in that area.
Go ahead, ba.
Hearing me?
No, you're still breaking up.
Yeah.
You'd have to find an area with good broadband. And
We're hearing you, but it's choppy.
Okay, are you hearing me good now?
Yes,
A
little bit better.
Dead area. Okay, that the DPP in Jamaica has the ultimate power to prosecute or end a case. or not prosecute the case.
The DPP.
What's the role of the Attorney General?
Yeah.
And the Attorney General
The
has
Attorney General advises the government. The Attorney advises the government. It's the Attorney government, and for the by that means it means also the people.
So then, if I'm understanding correctly,
The Attorney General.
you get a little choppy again. But
Yes.
let me ask you this, Valerie. If I'm understanding you correctly, are you saying that the DPP is like the chief prosecutor, and the Attorney General is so the DPP is like a chief prosecutor appointed by the government, but the Attorney General is more like a ministerial portfolio? Well, not quite a ministry, but like a portfolio under the government.
Yes, the Attorney General advises the government on all legal issues. The government needs that advice. And the Attorney General also represents the people of Jamaica. The people. So there are issues that we as a country. For example, remember the needs matter that went to court. The Attorney General went to court to represent government.
Okay.
But the DPP is totally independent. DPP totally independent of the Attorney General. And they have written too. Britain has nothing to do with it. But the DPP has ultimate power to end a case, to start a case, not to start a case. Got that, Michael?
Yeah.
and can the DPP sued
Did you get that?
in that instance?
Somewhat. We get it somewhat. Yeah, go ahead, Herb. Sorry.
Can the DPP be subject to a lawsuit when the charge against someone is without merit? In other words,
It's not
indicate that
pursued.
I didn't hear that.
No. The answer is a fat, definite no.
Oh.
And the Supreme Court,
Hello? Yes.
if there can be nothing filed as far as malfeasance or misfeasance to the Supreme Court, saying that she's acting with indifference to the law?
No, sir. You can take an action parliament or like what they did to Clinton. I think your Republicans are they want to do to buy.
Gentlemen, we're having a
Yeah, we're having some serious technical issues.
yeah. I think she's driving. You know.
Yeah.
It's been a long, Michael.
Yeah, the driving and you're going through. You're in St. Thomas, eh? So you're going through some.
I remember
Dead
going
ear.
through that with one of the other people,
Yeah.
Jerry Small. He usually drives and the transmission is choppy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think what she's saying, we have a clear understanding. You know, it's obvious that the DPP office is a very powerful office. You know, they can decide when, how, and where a trial can take place. But
Yeah, but from what I think from what she says also is that the Attorney General's office is completely separate, and it actually supersedes the DPP, because they advise the government on legal matters, and
yeah,
also they speak on behalf of the people, right, in that context as well. And they, I think she was saying, explaining something about what impact they can have on a DPP case.
Yeah.
So clearly what she's saying is that the power of the Attorney General certainly supersedes that of the DPP.
But unlike the UK, where the Attorney General
Basically, I think she's saying that the
supervises,
DPP is as much more.
No, they're still separate. They're completely separate. But you know, the Attorney General seems to carry more power than the DPP.
okay, now yesterday and Rattigan's program, we were told it's the Governor General that nominates the DPP. Am I correct?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Who
I don't think so. I think it's the government who
are
appoints.
approved? What impact does it? This is what was going to be my other question, because the Governor General plays a key role in a lot of the crown. Remember, the DPP represents the crown.
yeah, what happened? What happened? They have to make the recommendation to Governor General.
And then he approves it.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember
And so,
the Governor General role is more one of signing off on issues
And stuff, yeah.
and laws and so on. So our laws are policies, I guess, regardless. But
and key appointments like that. Anything appointed to represent the crown, because when you
Governor General.
yeah, the Governor General.
here's sorry, go ahead.
So what I was gonna say to you is that's our other problem right there. Not, you know, because the Governor General believes he has a rubber stamp. He can't do anything but stamp approval. But, you know, under what circumstances? Can you hear us, Miss Nita?
Definitely, I'm hearing you. I believe I'm going to Montego Bay and the whole strip of Trelawney. Digicel is very busy and it's a tourist.
Yeah. All right. Since you have it a little better, Valerie, what we're just saying is from what we could pick up from what you were explaining earlier, and then you can correct me if we have it right or wrong. But we were thinking that from what you said, the DPP and the Attorney General is two completely separate
offices,
right? The DPP is the chief prosecutor dealing with all, you know, his cases and so on in court. Then the Attorney General is advises the government and also on legal matters, and also represents the people in that regard. And also, you said that you were explaining something about the Attorney General's powers as against the DPP powers, but we wasn't hearing you so clearly on that. So maybe you can go back on that for us.
All right. Basically, Attorney General.
One more question, Valerie, before you start. Valerie, before you start explaining, just answer this question included in what you're gonna say. Who is the DPP answerable to? Because she seems to have so much independence. Who is she answerable to?
Yes, all right. So it's very important to understand that the DPP has to start a case, to end a case that has been to prosecute someone, not prosecute them. She makes decisions, and there's nobody, no more institution that can challenge that. There's no way to challenge that. She has the exclusive. So, for example, in the Carlos Hill case, they sued Carlos Hill, executed Carlos Hill for an offense that could not be supported by the evidence because they didn't understand the financial implications. When the DP realized the judge was leaning and no case submission, they held the case before she could give her. In doing that, they deprived Kyle of a not guilty verdict. And they tried to prosecute the case again. But by that time, all the witnesses had appeared. Are you here?
You got that, Patrick?
Yeah, I kind of got it.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah, you still got choppy again. But
Yes, the point I'm making.
Not hearing you clearly at all. Didn't hear that explanation clearly.
yeah, you're still coming in choppy.
I'm so sorry, but I'm so sorry.
Not hearing nothing from your mic.
Yes, I'm making the point. The point I'm making. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, we're hearing you in bits and pieces. You're still choppy.
I don't know if you're able to stop for about 20 minutes at a really good reception area.
Yeah.
Yes. Are you hearing me now? You're hearing me now?
Yes. Go ahead.
I want to find a good reception here. Hear me clearly now.
Yeah, we're hearing you. You're just still choppy. You're still choppy.
All right. Go along with the show and give me 10 minutes. And I will
Okay.
get out of it.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's give her a chance to give us a more clear explanation before we get into any discussion on that. But clearly we know that there is some discrepancy around the role of the DPP and the Attorney General. So we wait and Valve to help us get a better understanding of that.
She seems to be
Go ahead.
saying the powers of the DPP is immense, right? And that the DPP can make certain decisions that nobody can challenge.
Right.
Seems to be
she did say that.
what
As far as
she's
prosecution,
saying,
I
which
guess.
is,
But
yeah, as far as prosecution.
In the case of
overwhelming.
malicious prosecution, like knowing that the DNA exonerated somebody and she comes back and still prosecutes, then she should be subject to an opinion from the Attorney General that tells the Governor General, look, you appointed this lady. Now she's doing a malicious prosecution and she needs to be warned. Right? Some legal mechanism need to exist to put some controls there on malicious prosecutions. I don't know if Valerie can hear that.
Are you hearing me now? Are you hearing me now?
A little bit better, just a little bit. Still somewhat
that
choppy,
seems to be something probably for part of the constitutional reform.
Yes, I have LTE now, so you should hear me clearly now.
All
Are you
right.
hearing me clear?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead, Valerie. Go ahead. Let's see what we can make of this.
Yeah, we're
Yes,
hearing you now.
Valerie? Valerie?
Did she say she stopped? Oh,
No, she's
Did
not
she
stopped
stop?
yet. I think she's still working on it. She's not
Okay.
stopped yet. I think she's still working.
All right. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Gentlemen, I think we should push this off until next Sunday.
is
This thing
she?
is just chop up all over, you know.
Yeah. Where's your other guest at? Is she gonna show?
Next week,
No. This week.
I guess she won't show because at this time now she probably won't show again.
no man, she will show. And also Arlene.
We're talking
No,
about
I'm talking
Arlene,
about Arlene.
right?
Talking about who?
Arlene.
Yeah, she sent me a text.
Oh, so she's still trying to get here.
No, she said reschedule for next Sunday.
Okay.
Oh, okay,
All right.
okay.
So I don't think it's gonna get any better because I went through this
Okay. So,
with
so
Mr.
you
What's
suggest
the
we
But before we close off though, if I can say this, I was hoping that Ratty would have been here. Because
Are you hearing me now?
yes.
Good. All right, it's important. This part of it is very important. The Attorney General is from the DP's powers are not vested, but save and accept that Parliament can impeach the DP. But that has never been done. And it requires both houses of the Are you hearing me?
Oh, you got choppy at some point.
Are you saying that's
started
the
to say
only
something about impeach
that's the
and you
only
got choppy
avenue
there.
to challenge the DPP?
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes.
Yes. So, in terms of her decisions,
Yes.
there's no constitutional objection that people can make to her decision.
No. She would have to impeach in Parliament. And that requires votes. And you know
So
that
barring
there is
impeachment,
no independent.
barring
No,
barring
this
impeachment, there's
barring
not gonna work.
nothing.
Impeachment.
Hello.
No, sir.
Valerie,
Oh,
Valerie,
that's a very
Valerie-
powerful office.
just a minute. We're not hearing you properly, clearly, Bob. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna reschedule until next Sunday.
It's one.
Valerie,
All right. So next Sunday.
next
Yes.
Sunday, next. You will be traveling next Sunday.
I don't. She's supposed to travel today. I don't it.
All right. So
But something that needs to be.
yeah, the driving.
Yeah.
You know, you make it bummy. So,
Yeah.
comrades,
Yeah.
we'll meet again next Sunday, same time.
Yes.
All right, and
All right, Valerie, be safe.
Safe travel.
yeah, and to our listeners,
Thanks for showing up, Valerie.
yeah,
You're welcome. Very big. It needs to be exhausted.
Yeah.
I believe the diaspora can have an impact. So it's important to get them on board.
Well, we're trying, and we got the legal fund going now. So the next move will be to see what committee we can put together to examine cases as well as to examine policy issues that impact crime and security in Jamaica.
Yeah.
And the big one is, in fact, not just the DPP, but the Governor General who signed off on her, right? He needs to get into the game because he has the power, and he's not. So we have to talk about that. But we can get some good answers, clear answers next week.
I will see if I can access through the Freedom of Information, the Wolf report
Yes.
Yes.
on the
Yeah.
justice
Yes.
system. It was that report.
I have a copy. I think I have a copy on my computer.
All right.
Yeah, man, read it, man. Everything is there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
Valerie.
good.
All right, Bobby, take care.
Speak.
Yeah. Yeah, what I wanted to say was yesterday on Ratty's program,
I'm
Wanna-
I'm putting a Wolf report in our chat, private chat,
Yeah.
so you guys
Oh.
can copy and paste.
I can't quite get, if you can text it to me, Herb, that would be good.
All right.
Yeah. Or email, either one. Yesterday on Ratty's program, I was particularly impressed because it's one of the best shows he has had since going on here. And he had very good participation from the audience, and the kind of participation he got, it was clear that you had people there who were really thinking around the issue and was really speaking to the issue, which is good. But what I'm thinking is that at the same time, we really needed to start looking at how we can actually work more together across the shows, right? I was hoping he would be here so we can talk more about that. But in terms of working more across the shows to bring in more listenership, we need to say it on here, in terms of encouraging our audience to speak more with their neighbors and and the people that come in contact with, and encourage them, tell them about the show, get them to listen to the show some more, and write in. And then at the same time, we could also have a dedicated email address also, where the audience can actually write in, right, on certain issues and all of that. And it would definitely give us more substance to for discussion and for more interaction with the audience. And then with like this show, Michael, that you definitely should have a dedicated area where you definitely bring in audience, taking phone calls and so on, right? Because that is really what is gonna grow the listenership and grow the participation.
Yeah.
Now, some people are asking questions about the legal fund. That will be covered Saturday coming in that show. All right. So you'll have all the information you'll need. Where to send your funds, how we're gonna break things out. Hopefully, we'll have a more intense discussion around that come Saturday. So that's all I can say for now. I'm not certain if we get all the articles and everything out fully outlined, and that we'll be able to speak to how the fund will be the administration of the fund. So we just have to play it by ear for now.
Okay. On that note, I want to thank everyone that participated in today's discussion. I want to thank the listeners. I hope you bear with us because it was difficult talking with attorney at law Valerie Nita. So we're looking forward to something more in depth come next Sunday, same time. And remember, I endorse what Patrick said. So when I close off, I'm telling you, go tune to Reason with Rattigan. The brother man is doing an exceptional job, and check him out
Every Saturday
every
at
Saturday at
3
3 o'clock.
on
Reason with
Global,
Rattigan.
Reggae Global, and
Reggae
also
Global.
on YouTube.
All
Well,
right.
tonight we'll have a town hall meeting, but
Yeah.
he won't be there, unfortunately.
No, he's traveling, you know.
He's traveling. Yeah.
Yeah. So, gentlemen,
Yes.
until next week. But in the meantime, if you come across anything, just post it or send it, you know, news
Yeah.
item or what have you.
I
We
think
can discuss.
we need to really concentrate, like we did yesterday, on the functions of the Governor General and the DPP,
Yeah, man.
because
Until next week.
yeah, and so we should have some good questions for both attorneys when they come on next Sunday.
Yeah.
All right, sir.
Right.